Annual 19th Santa Barbara Airport Commission meeting, and for a year that I'm sure will be promises to be one of the most exciting in Santa Barbara Airport history. A roll call, please.
Bruce Miller.
Here.
John Clark.
Here.
Chris Colbert. William Gilbert.
Here.
Patricia Griffin.
Here.
Kirk Martin.
Here.
Scott Tracy.
Okay, any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And we now have public comment. Any member of the public may address the Airport Commission on any subject within its jurisdiction that is not scheduled before them on this day. And the total time is 15 minutes. Do we have any speaker slips?
No speaker slips.
Any public comment? Okay, that takes us to notices, and that the lease review subcommittee meeting scheduled for Thursday, January 6th was canceled, and that on Thursday, January 13th, 2011, at 5:10 p.m., the airport secretary commission secretary duly posted this agenda on the bulletin board at airport administration. And the consent calendar, consisting of our minutes, several lease agreements, and the property management report. Do we have any items to withdraw from the consent calendar? Okay.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor of approving the consent calendar as submitted?
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar.
I'd like to make a comment, though. I wish we'd pull the minutes separate, because I'd like to abstain from the minutes because I wasn't here from approving the minutes. So if you would keep them separate so those who aren't here can abstain on the consent calendar, then go over the rest of it.
Okay, I think we could routinely do that by just withdrawing them from the consent calendar and considering them as a separate item.
Well, please.
I think we can do that. Okay. Thank you. And that brings us to the arrival of Commissioner Colbert.
So noted.
Right on time.
And our liaison reports. I see we have our liaison from the city of Goleta, or I should say the fine city of Goleta, Councilmember Roger Aceves. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Board. Boy, you run a quick meeting. It's almost done.
Yeah.
I want my colleagues to take note of that as we move forward. I actually just have a short report. We had our first meeting yesterday, and a couple items of note was, the big one, negative, was what's happening in Sacramento with the proposed budget. The biggest one, I think, that's obviously a concern for us and a concern for you is the proposed elimination of the redevelopment agency. So if that was to happen, you would see problems with us completing the San Jose Creek retrofit. We would not be able to complete the Hollister redesign. And we'd have to shift the obligations, the indebtedness that we have, basically to the general fund. So it's going to require some law changes, obviously. But it'll be obviously front page news for quite a while. So that's the negative. The positive is I brought forward last night the idea of annexing and purchasing the Glen Andy Golf Course. So we've hired a consultant who is an expert in the analysis of what it would take to do that. The financial feasibility of the city operating the golf course. As you know, this area was proposed for development some years ago, and it's a cherished asset. We hate to lose a golf course, so I would hope that we could make it a possibility and annex it and keep it a golf course for forever. So that's my short report. I know that my predecessor gave jokes, but I don't do jokes. So I hate to let you down with that one. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay.
Thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you and welcome. And I see our new City of Santa Barbara liaison, Councilmember Frank Hotchkiss, has not joined us. We look forward to meeting him next month. Okay, and that brings us then to commission matters. Item 12, election of chair, vice chair, and subcommittee assignments. And certainly this is going to be a very busy year, and I hope these will all have everyone's attention. Without any specific recommendations for how to proceed, I will propose that we will start with the chair and ask for volunteers and nominations, followed by the vice chair, and then I will read the subcommittees, and at that time for each accept any requests for withdrawal or assignment. Okay, the vice chair.
You mean the chair?
I'm sorry, the chair, yes. And
I will volunteer for that.
okay, and
I was going to put your name up for nomination. Kirk?
Oh, I thought you were going to volunteer.
No.
I knew.
okay,
I knew. I was just kidding.
all right. And I will go ahead and volunteer as well. Any others?
Sounds like we have two.
Okay. All right. I believe that we then would proceed with an open vote. That's correct. And I guess we'll just start on that end and work our way across.
I'm more accustomed to from right to left.
Oh, okay.
No, but as the newest commissioner, just for background, how many years have either of you served in this role before I came on board?
Oh, that's probably a good. I have been on 1 year,
1 year.
and this is my now 5th year on the commission.
Right.
It's your 5th as well.
Indeed it is, and I've been the vice chair for 1 year as well, and on subcommittees as well. So under that tutelage, I believe it would be the next logical step.
I'm going to take that into consideration.
Okay.
This is an open
This
discussion.
is we're we can have a discussion, and then we can have a
Secret
vote.
ballot?
I don't believe we can actually have a secret ballot. No.
Well, I, for one, don't have any particular cause to say that we should change. I support yourself.
Well, I'm
Well,
going to support my
right.
nominee, but, you know, I'm supporting you both. You're going to be my leaders one way or the other,
This is a
so.
tough decision. Yes, it's very, very.
It's rare that we have two people that want to do it.
Yeah.
Usually we're begging.
Glad I didn't throw my name in there. I would have been slammed. So, forget it.
I think that
And
we moved down the.
We
because
probably know.
obviously-
We probably know.
Is that an abstention?
No, 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 no.
Oh, you're.
I voted for
Okay.
Kirk, who I nominated along with after he submitted his name.
Commissioner Martin. Thank you.
Your call, sir.
Hmm?
Who you voting for?
I don't know. Kirk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. I think that's 2 and 3 and what, 4. Right, yeah.
I wasn't voted off the island.
Okay.
You were not.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right.
I really like you, Kurt, too.
Oh, just wait to see what committees you get on.
Oh, boy.
I don't want to. I don't want to make the position less than it is, but it isn't President of the United States, so
That's right.
And that's a good
shouldn't
thing.
have hurt feelings.
And that then brings us to vice chair, associate chair, vice chair. Yes.
In charge of vice.
Are you volunteering? Would you like me to nominate you?
I'll go ahead and volunteer.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Colbert as vice chair. He had to get here on time. I'd just like to see if that would help.
Well, I appreciate that.
But I do think you have had service before, so
I
it's not,
have. I've
it's
actually
not
served-
something new.
No, I've served in all these roles, and I just want to make sure someone else here who hasn't gets a chance. Is
So
there
we could
anybody-
pick
Oh,
on
I served
Mr.
so long ago.
Well,
I'm a has-been.
We could pick on Mr. Tracy because he's not here. That might, if
Yeah.
that's any help, but I do think that,
does he have to be here?
I think he has to have the right to be able to decline.
Yeah, I think he should, yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll accept the nomination, but I appreciate it very
Okay.
much. I can't guarantee I'll be on time, though, if it were to come to pass.
Okay, any other nominations, volunteers? Okay, well, we'll start on this end this time then.
Let's see, we have one nominee, correct?
I
Two.
will volunteer.
You will volunteer. Okay, we have
Yes.
two.
Dose.
Dose. Wow. See, I like all of you. It's like his line.
Who do you want to punish the most?
Ooh, now you've done it. Well, that makes it simple. Miller. He did it. Mr. Miller.
Mr. Colbert?
Mr. Miller, I am familiar with your experience, and Mr. Colbert, I like you and don't know of your experience, so I'm going to go with the known commodity here.
It had nothing to do with my vote.
Well, certainly not.
That's payback time.
Yeah.
I'm really.
Yeah, I wouldn't have volunteered if I wouldn't vote for myself.
Oh, boy, that's really a tough spot to put me in here. I nominated you, so I'm going to vote
Sure.
for you, but I think we have two fine possibilities, so.
That's fine. That's great.
It's like the Cubs, there's always next year.
That's right.
All right.
And do we have to
Okay.
do the committees as well?
And then we have the subcommittees. We have the Air Service Committee, currently composed of Gilbert, Griffin, and Clark. Is there any
I'm happy
request?
with being on that one still, unless somebody else wants on it.
As am I.
As am I.
Okay. So Air Service, Gilbert, Griffin, Clark. And we have the Budget Committee, Clark, Colbert, Miller. Do we have any requests to withdraw or requests to arm wrestle?
Not from here.
Okay. Budget, Clark, Colbert, Miller. General Aviation, Miller, Clark, Tracy. Any requests for changes? We don't have Commissioner Tracy, but I guess we'll assume that we might have heard otherwise from him if he wanted to be on there. Ground transportation, a very quiet one, but I'm sure there'll be more activity soon. Tracy Martin Miller. Any changes? Nope. Very good. Lease review, Griffin, Colbert, Miller. Any
I'm
changes?
happy to continue.
As well.
Okay, and myself. Okay. Noise abatement,
No, no,
Tracy
this is-
and Gilbert.
Don't all jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all want to volunteer for that.
Yeah. Me.
Fine?
Fine. And Tracy, we will, in his absence, anybody else like to join that? There's one opportunity available. Okay. Well, we will stand at two there. Tracy and Gilbert. Public Relations, Griffin, Tracy, Martin. Changes? Okay, Public Relations as is. Planning, Miller, Clark, and do we have another?
You're only
open-
allowed two.
Just two on that? Is that correct?
Oh,
On planning?
that was on the airline terminal
That's the
project.
airline
This is just general planning.
General planning,
And if
that's
we're going
correct.
to start
yeah.
our master plan update,
Right.
it would probably be good to have 3 people,
Okay.
even though we'll bring it to the full commission.
Wouldn't mind being on the planning if they're going for 3.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd be happy to, but.
Oh,
sounds
I
like
don't
you've
think
got
you
third.
could have more than 30.
No, we can only have 3.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Mr. Gilbert.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Chris.
No, no.
Do you want flip?
Go ahead.
No, no. I've got plenty here.
You're only on one or two there. Go ahead.
I may have
Whichever.
to, but it's whatever you want.
Okay. I guess that's my call. Well, I guess we will. I'll ask Commissioner Colbert, but I'm sure there'll be opportunities to change that later when that actually comes around. So, planning, Miller, Clark, Colbert, and the terminal design, I think, is somewhat wound up, but is currently.
That's not
I think I took that off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have.
You
You have an old list.
Oh, I have a whole 3-month-old list. You're right. I'm sorry. Okay, that brings us to the end of that item. And then I think we have the much awaited, if I go back to my agenda, the T-Hanger Lottery.
We've reduced it to a bowl now.
Yes, and we have
It's a pretty
to
bowl.
determine the order in which
Cereal
Mr. Yabsley, Mr. Stillman, Mr. Steiner, and Mr. Wester will be added to the airport T-Hanger waiting list. I'll ask my lovely assistant.
Carol Merrill.
Is this kosher? Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What?
You can't look. Yeah.
Somehow bringing out the
The
thing
letters?
with the balls and stuff didn't seem, with 4 people, didn't seem
Well,
too
we
exciting.
thought it would be worth it.
It was our high point of the.
Oh.
It was. Okay,
High
number
point.
1, Mr. Mark Wester.
It is Mr. Mark Wester, confirmed. It almost looks like a fortune cookie, fortune.
I'm not playing any favorites, you guys.
Number 2, Russell Steiner.
It is Russell Steiner.
50-50 here.
Number 3, Jim Yabsley.
Mr. Jim Yabsley is confirmed.
And that would probably make it Barry Stillman.
Number 4 is Barry Stillman.
Okay, so we have that duly recorded, I'm sure. All right, and that brings us to the director's reports.
Your favorite part of the agenda. Okay, our passenger count for December was up 3.7% over December of last year, so that is good news. Overall, for 2010, we were up 1.2% over 2009, so we're making some progress. The next thing I wanted to point out was on the Terminal Public Arts Program, the Pierre Clison's commissioned art. The proposals are due in January 26th, so next week. So hopefully we'll get at least a few good proposals. The other thing I wanted to point out was the terminal project, and I wanted to show you the latest video that our city TV crew put together and is on our website. They just do a phenomenal job of putting all kinds of video type presentations together, and they've done well by us, or we've done well by them.
The airline terminal project has been cleared for takeoff. The second phase of construction is now underway, adjacent to the existing historic airline terminal. The Santa Barbara Airport's flight to the future is making its way. Now that the project is more than halfway complete, let's take a look back to see how far it's come. In September of 2009, following the site clearing, workers began the soil stabilization in preparation for the new two-story airline terminal. In order to improve the stability of the soil, construction workers used a technique called deep soil mixing, which adds cement to existing soil at the site. Once the soil stabilization process was finished, grading began in order to raise the site elevation above the 100-year floodplain. In October of 2009, with the site prepared, the groundbreaking for the new terminal building took place. After the grading was finished, the first order of work was to set up batter boards and install the electrical and communications conduits for the new terminal. Then footings were constructed to support the building, and the structural steel for the frame of the building was erected. Less than 6 months into construction of the building, workers poured the first floor concrete slab. To prepare for the roofing system, metal decking was placed on the roof beams. In June of 2010, with the second floor structural steel intact, the second floor concrete slab was poured.
Very nice.
You know what, it's going to be a lot.
It's wobbly.
In August of 2010, metal studs were delivered to the site in order to start framing the interior walls. Once the metal decking was complete, the roof system installation began, which includes Santa Barbara's classic red tiles. As of January 2011, with the roofing system watertight, interior work is progressing swiftly. The new airline terminal is scheduled to open in June 2011, with the relocated historic terminal and parking lot to be completed in spring of 2012. Stay tuned in the months to come for more updates on the airline terminal's flight to the future.
So I just encourage you to go on the website. It's a little dark on this screen, but it looks pretty good on the TV or, computer. But they are making great progress on the interior. It's no longer, the last time you took a tour, it was sort of a straight shot from one end to the other, and now there are studs and walls, and everything is really taking shape. I don't know if next month you might want to plan to take another tour and start the meeting a little early and go do that. Okay, great. Will do.
And are we actually now looking at June?
Yeah, so far June is holding, but we still have the rest of winter to go, so I don't know if rain will delay us anymore.
Well, it's a La Nina year, so it really shouldn't be an issue.
Right. Probably not. But things are progressing very, very well, and so I look forward, and we'll plan a tour then for next month. Good. All right. The other thing I wanted to point out is the tidal circulation project is substantially complete right now. They have a few things left to do, which they'll do by the end of February. But that completes our mitigation for the airfield safety projects and the air runway safety overrun and relocation of the creek. So that's good to get that underway. And at some point, probably in the spring when it dries out a little bit, we could arrange a tour of that as well, just to show you what it looks like out there right now. I think that's all the items that I was going to call attention to on the director's report. If you have anything else that's on there that I didn't speak about, I would be happy to address it.
I take it there's no action with the city council between this next period?
Nothing significant, no.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
I did notice one item on there about the noise abatement monitoring, or the noise monitoring system, and it had now, the server has been moved offsite or outsourced. I was just going to ask, maybe, it's been a while since we've had an update on the progress of that system. I know it's been a large project and has gone on. I'm wondering if maybe not next month, but perhaps the month after, if there was sufficient material just to provide just kind of an overview. I think there's probably several commissioners who aren't really that familiar with it.
I can put a presentation together for our next commission meeting, operation of this system and the changes that we've made to it.
Yeah, is there interest in that? I think
Yes.
it would be
All right.
great. Thanks for volunteering.
No, that's good.
Okay. I think that brings us to the end of our agenda.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Okay. Adjourned. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, and thank you to our large audience tonight.
Yeah.